Welcome, everyone, to another episode of The Independent Mindset, the podcast for candid conversation, staying curious, and being better. I'm your host, Emily MCRAE.
Thanks, Emily.
I kind of like the idea of having the guest do the intro. It'll be a little bit different every time.
Yeah. Thanks, Emily. Well, semi-guest. She's our recurring guest because she's also our social media guru. So thanks for doing all the hard work today, Emily.
You're welcome.
So welcome to the episode. Today we have a kind of a cool concept. Jason and I a few weeks ago in one of our podcasts discussed the mental diet. So that was centered around what you put into your mind on a daily basis. If you do something consistently enough, it can harm or help you, depending on what that topic is. We've talked about, the toxicity of could be news, could be social media, things like that. So Emily had a great idea, and this is something we're going to do throughout this week. And I'll let Emily explain the rules later. But we're gonna do something along the lines of a mental diet cleanse or a fast, if you will. But before that, Emily, we haven't seen you for a while. So what's new with you?
On a Survivor update, because last time I think I don't remember what season of Survivor I was on, probably around late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah, because your whole idea was you're rewatching the entire
40
series
seasons
of Survivor.
Yeah.
40 seasons, which my wife and I are slowly doing, but just not as obsessive as you and your boyfriend.
Yeah, so I think we just started David versus Goliath, which I think is season 37.
Okay,
and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not as into it as 20 seasons ago.
Maybe a little oversaturated.
Slightly.
So on that note, I was just gonna say on that note, my wife and I just finished a season this morning. We got up early and we were like, we're almost done the season with Russell, the infamous Russell. For those of you who watched Survivor, he was known as one of the all-time villains of Survivor. And I gotta say, I don't think I had ever watched that season, and I thought he absolutely deserved $1 million, and he got shafted.
So Jason, just
for being too mean.
In case you're wondering why he's known as a villain, he's the guy who came on and lied about surviving Hurricane Katrina and his dog drowned, and he's not even from he doesn't even live in that state. He just
meanwhile he's from
the game.
Yeah, he played it really well too, and
burned people's stocks just to mess with them.
Yeah, he would disappear like these casual items. And he turns out he's a guy from Texas who just recently became successful with his oil company. So he's like a pretty well-off guy. He just wanted to win.
Well, that tells you a lot about the personality type to be successful, right? It's ingenious, not necessarily Machiavellian, but it's being able to think outside the box. Like, was he the guy who right from day one went into the woods and started to look for the little idols?
Probably.
I remember there was one of those guys who'd seen like 10 or 12 seasons before and just went off and found all the little trinkets that
So he's the one who changed the game because he was the first ever contestant to start looking for an idol without a clue.
Yeah, and
so there'd always be a clue, and he was like, I know it's always in some sort of special tree or something. So he just started looking, and it worked. And then from that day on,
I think he got a total of 4.
How they did that, yeah.
Yeah, but he got a total of 4, I think, throughout this season, so it helped him out. But he ended up like the whole, like at least the second half, he was just politicking so well. He had everybody under his control. So, but then he lost because people had hurt feelings, I guess.
Smart man, I like it. I kind of want to watch that season now, just to see the game behind the game.
It's good. The second half, I was like, ooh, because they really focus. They even remove reward challenges because they clearly focus the filming and the editing a lot more on the politicking, and it was really good. Yeah. So, Jason, what's up with you, man?
It's going to be a weekend around the house stuff. Going to go lift some weights. Going to go run, clean up down here. Going to redo some caulking in the bathroom, and I got a few little things. It's going to be a nice, good weekend. It was a busy week at work, and try to get rested up for the next one.
Right on. Yeah, you're manager now, so
got things to do.
Yeah, don't disappoint, man. No pressure. So before we get to our mental diet cleanse and those rules, we're going to do our recurring segment called Canceled.
Finish him.
So, Emily, we will start with you.
Oh, I'm first.
What do you think will be canceled next?
All right. Well, mine, I came up with this because I very recently read this book. I read it this week. And it's The Outsiders. And it's been, I reread it for the first time since high school, and it's still taught in most high schools. And I think that will end at some point. Because, I mean, if you've ever read it or seen the movie, there are no women with any significance in the book, like in the story.
Just as God intended.
It's just about boys. Boys.
Shout out to Ryan
Long. Yeah, right. It's all about just a gang of boys and their hardships. And it's a very, I don't know, for lack of a better word, Eurocentric view. Yes. There's no diversity. Also,
I mean, it's all about class diversity, really.
It is, but we don't really care about that right now.
It's almost like it's a bunch of guys who come from the same neighborhood. I remember reading that. I kind of forget exactly what it's about in the details, but I think it was 11th grade English that we read that book. And I remember the night before the test, I was flicking through the channels at home, and the movie just happened to be playing.
That's
I was
perfect.
like, "Oh, this is perfect." It was like
it's
right
so
at the
true
start
to
of
the book
movie.
too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like there was only like at 15 minutes or whatever that passed. I was like, "Oh, I could not ask for better timing."
And what was the other thing in the book? Oh yeah, so within the story, the book Gone with the Wind is also a very important aspect in the story.
Yes, that's true.
And that book itself is just very frowned upon now.
It's from the South.
Yeah, it's how to be a Southern gentleman and the antebellum South and all that. So I wouldn't be surprised if that gets kicked off the curriculum at some point.
All right. That's not a bad guess. Jason?
I don't think we did this one yet. The scientific method.
Oh.
That's a bad one.
That's
it's a good guess, but it's a harmful one.
Insert danger zone here. But objective reality, measurements, black and white statements, pass, fail, does not, controlling for variables, controlling for all these different things. Name whatever factor you're looking at. Results
that don't match your lived experience.
True. Measurable, replicable, all that can be demonstrated objectively. Anything having to do with that objectivism, that's going to go real quick.
Yeah, truth instead of my truth.
I hope you like burning poop for warmth.
That's humans' first type of energy. So I guess full circle, eh?
Yeah, go right back. But once you got the electrician who's wiring your house, and they do it according to how my truth says, you're gonna have a problem.
That's true. But we like to ignore those things, right? We still appreciate how plumbing works and how electricity works, even though we have plenty of fun bashing the theories behind them.
Well, that'll be next week's canceled segment: electricity and plumbing.
The Romans would roll in their grave. I had something, and then I kind of forgot because we got onto these topics. So it probably wasn't that good. So I'll go on the train of thought Emily had with books, and I'm going to go with not necessarily canceled, but what we've been doing, especially in pop culture and movies lately, which is taking an original story and then basically rewriting it for women. So I'm going to say Lord of the Flies.
Oh, this will happen, is what you think.
Correct. So it'll be canceled in the sense that we need to replace Lord of the Flies with a new Lord of the Flies that has women in it, or only women, almost kind of like the
Ghostbusters,
Ocean's 8 or Ghostbusters kind of thing. And funny enough, I think Lord of the Flies is yes, it's a great book and a great kind of fictional social experiment, but it is also a very extreme. It has pretty quick and extreme results. So I think they're going to take that and go, that's toxic masculinity. We can write that up in more of a woman's gynocentric perspective, and it'll be less toxic at the same time.
So I don't think toxic femininity was ever coined, eh?
Not really.
Not in because it only makes sense if you, and we're going to be blasphemous here, if you only have two genders, you'd think both can be good and both could be, bad or toxic depending on the verbiage that you want to use. But it seems like we've never quite defined what toxic femininity is.
What's interesting about about what Will just said is that, so I've taught Lord of the Flies in my English class before, and I held a discussion afterwards. Anyways, and one of my questions was, how do you think this story would have gone had it been a group of girls on the island?
That is a good question.
And none of the boys would answer. It was like a circle activity. You kind of enter the circle to go and speak. None of the boys would speak. And I was like, there's no wrong answer. You can speak your say your opinion.
Yeah, and they probably don't think that
anymore. Then the girls broke the ice and were like, oh, I think it'd been worse. They thought it would have been less violent, but
yes,
really just extremely hurtful in other ways.
Psychologically.
And there'd been a lot of kind of outcast, and survival wouldn't have gone well because of that.
Well, Emily, you who's watching Survivor, didn't they do that at some point where they did men v women and kind of men got together, started building up the camp, and then women, just nothing got done. It was just constant fighting.
Yeah, I was pretty disappointed with them. It's you're letting my sex down.
That was the one in the Amazon or somewhere.
It was called
One World. It was in the jungle somewhere.
They lived both at the same beach, but had to set up two different camps.
Yeah, where Kim lives. Kim wins.
I was just like, ladies, you're letting me down as a fellow woman.
But then the guys were stupid, and some of them flipped, and then the girls were like, yeah, we're tight, we're not, and the women dominated towards the end, and then Kim won. It was a finale full of women. So, the guys were sucker for the women's at the end. They let their guard down.
Always
and
happens.
They crossed.
The almighty V.
Oh yeah. At the end of the day, I feel like V for Vendetta or vagina. All right. So Emily, why are we here this morning?
Okay. Well, last week when I was listening to your episode on mental diet, I thought it was slightly ironic I don't know as much about Jason's day-to-day, but I found it slightly ironic to hear Will talk about how, cutting out news and stuff like that is good for your mental health, because I know for a fact Will consumes a whole lot of news every single day.
That's how I stay informed.
So I said, why don't I make up an actual set of rules that you guys have to follow for a week, and it'll be like a detox or a cleanse, and see how much better you feel or not. We'll actually put it to the test. Obviously, this is kind of extreme in the sense that we're putting kind of all the tips you gave together into a week where you're trying to respect all these rules, whereas in reality, cutting out one or two of these things would probably make a big difference on your mental health and well-being. So yeah, I'm just going to read through these rules with you. It's your detox starts now. We can say 9 a.m. because it's a little bit past 9 a.m. right now. And
so 9 a.m. on Saturday, May 1st, actually.
Yep, until next Saturday, 9 a.m.
And the structure of this actual episode of this podcast is that we will come back in this same episode, which will be a week later.
Yeah.
However, still in the same episode, and give you our results.
We'll include that nice da 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 transition music.
That same song,
yeah.
Okay, sounds.
I'll put the Skype one. It's better.
All right. So here are the rules I came up with for your detox. I tried to keep it reasonable. Rule number 1: no social media. So if you currently have your phone with you, you can log out of all your apps. That includes, Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, Snapchat, whatever TikToks you have, all that. I think
Jason and I will be pretty good at that.
Yeah, I think this will be the easiest one for you.
Yeah, I think we both recognize just how harmful social media can be. And I think for the past years, we've been pretty good at not caring too much about social media. In fact, I'm basically not on Facebook anymore. The only question I have for you, though, specific to social media.
I will run your social media account for you.
Yeah, I mean, it means you'll have to do all of the work.
Yeah, so I'll take care of all our socials. Obviously, if you have an idea for a post.
Cleanse more often.
If you have ideas for posts, let me know. You can still share your ideas, but I'll take care of scheduling it and stuff.
We'll still be working behind the scenes.
Sure.
So messaging, all good, but actual social,
exactly.
Just leave it aside. Okay.
Yeah, like log out of Facebook.com, but you can still go on Messenger.com and then, talk with people.
Yeah, chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
So after we stop recording, I will make sure that you log out of all your stuff.
Ooh, okay.
All right. Wow. Rule number 2 is no watching or reading the news. Okay, so to add on to this one, if anything happens in the world or in your community that you really need to know about, I will let you know. If there's like if there's something that you should be aware of. But otherwise, enjoy your COVID-19 free week.
Question.
Yes.
Question. Does that include, because I do a lot of my news and thinking through audio.
That will bring us to rule number 3.
Okay.
Rule number 3 is no watching political videos or political podcasts.
Damn it.
So I don't know what Jason's listens to as much, but for Will, Gad Sad, Daily Wire, whatever else you're listening to.
For me, it's like Daily Wire, Crowder, that sort of stuff.
So yeah, none of those. I think that's going to be the toughest one for Will.
Will's going to be skipping in the field of daisies by the end of this one. He's not going to come back.
My dog is going to be able to do everything.
You should spend so much time with him.
Yeah, I'm going to train him to walk on his hind legs. I'm going to train him to make the table, vacuum the floors, that kind of stuff.
Make him the world's first rescue seeing eye dog.
So those are the 3 rules in terms of things you are, in terms of content you're eliminating. And then my final rule for you, also just about no watching political videos or whatever. Netflix is fine. Like you can watch Amazon Prime and Survivor and all that.
What about documentaries?
I'd say that's fine. I would just avoid like going on YouTube's homepage, because obviously that'll just suggest all the usual videos you watch.
Yeah.
Don't browse YouTube. That's probably making your life difficult. Okay. And then my final rule. Oh, go ahead.
I just have another question on that. Can I still listen? Because I do enjoy podcasts. They're I'd say partly good for my mental diet in some respects. So can I still listen to stuff like comedy?
Yes.
Or those topics?
That's fine. You can listen to some podcasts as long as they're not mainly, political.
About the state of the world.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep it real simple. If I go on YouTube, I'm going to watch like Pokemon speedruns.
There you go. I got on that last summer. I was watching Super Mario 64 speedruns. I really had the start of the pandemic last year, it was
weird times. It was weird times.
It's crazy how watching people play video games is now as popular or more than playing video games.
It's kind of like the equivalent of watching people play sports now.
Yeah, it is. Esports, man.
And when we I forget which episode we were talking about, I kind of bashed like sports watching. And now I'm kind of catching myself like every now and then enjoying watching video game stuff. And I'm like, oh, damn, it's the same thing. Like I kind of have to rein that one in.
Yeah, because it's just something you had more of a vested interest in when you were a kid. But you're like, oh, I respect how good that person is at that game.
Yeah. And now I'm like, shit. All right, good. I have to bring that one back. All right, cool. Em, what else we got?
Okay, so those are the 3 rules in terms of content. And then the last rule I have is to improve your sleep hygiene, which you talked about on a previous episode.
That's my downfall.
So no bringing your phone into your bedroom at all.
I already do that. Easy.
So plug it in your kitchen, whatever. And no bringing your laptop to bed. So I know Will sometimes watches shows. Like if you wake up in the middle of the night and can't sleep, read a book or do some breathing exercises or something, but don't turn to your screen.
So basically, Jason, just go to bed. All right, cool.
Yeah.
I got it.
So those are my rules that I would like you to follow. I'll think of punishments if you guys break those rules. And I came up with a couple of challenges, like extra bonus things if you want to.
Do it. I got a couple suggestions to put on top of it also after.
Sure.
Because I was going to ask about, if you have any rules or suggestions for physical health, all that stuff, because it does all play into the mental diet, right?
Yeah. So my bonus challenges for you to do is get at least 30 minutes of exercise each day. Go outside 30 minutes each day. And then I have two that are just kind of things you could do in the week. So redecorate or spruce up a space in your home or at work. So like add art or a plant or get a new set of sheets, anything just to make that space nicer to live in.
It's like one of Peterson's 12 rules for life, which is it's pick a room in your house or a space in your house and make it as beautiful as you can.
There you go.
Yeah. Something along those lines.
And the last one I came up with is phone a friend or a relative that you haven't spoken to in a long time and just have a conversation.
Very nice.
I just did that. Does that count?
I mean...
Was it after 9 a.m.?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Damn it.
Pick a new person.
Was that your only friend?
Yeah, I'll call a relative or friend. That's cool. Does Jason count?
Hey, all right, here's an extra one too. Very good for mental health. It's something that Will and me can both do kind of differently, but similarly. We each have to touch our respective instruments for at least 15 minutes a day.
Ooh, okay. I haven't done that in the past few months because I moved my piano and I just don't have a space where I can sit down next to it.
Okay. All right. Well, is there a way you can work that out?
It's not an excuse. I can do 15 minutes.
Okay. Because I know, man, even if I just run through scales for a little while, it activates the brain differently. And man, you just feel good after.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. So 30 minutes of exercise. And from Jason and I'm not expecting, this is not a walk, Jason. This is
no, I know most of you
be at the gym or running.
You work out most days anyways, so I figured that wouldn't be a tough one to do.
Yeah. But like I walk Duke, every day. I will count that as my outside time, but not as my exercise time.
Yeah, that's fair. Same thing. Like I walk to work most days. So, it's 20 minutes one way, 20 minutes the other. So I get my outside time there, but that's not my workout.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Cool. All right. Will, is there anything you want to add to that?
I think that's good. I think actually, for me, the challenges will be probably the whole sleep hygiene, as Brian Kehoe would call it. I have bad and dirty sleep hygiene, so that will be the toughest one for me. To when I can't sleep, to not put on a podcast or watch stuff. Usually I'm not watching political stuff, but to not have that blue light in front of you is definitely a good idea.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, to help you out, do your musicality a little bit before bed and do a little bit of stretching before bed, and it'll wind you down pretty good.
Yeah, I was going to say that's going to be the only thing I add because I think all of this is pretty good and complete. It will be stretching. My lower back to hamstring flexibility is absolutely horrendous and has been for years. I pulled a hamstring in first year university and it's never been the same. It always hurts once in a while. So I will work on stretching and try to do that every day as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can do other things for your mental diet, but these are the basics I'd like you to stick to.
Right on. So we'll check in a week's time. We'll see
how successful you are, how you feel, if your life feels changed.
And Emily will be posting these rules on social media, and we'll invite everybody else to do it as of today.
Yeah, for sure. Join us. Let us know how it goes for you if you decide to do your own mental diet cleanse.
I'm going to get a plant. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go get a plant.
I've been doing that. That's another thing I'll suggest to anyone. I've been, gardening a little bit and working outside on the greenery of my backyard, and I don't know. It's always something that I found kind of therapeutic, and I like watching the flowers progress from one day to the next. So yeah, get a plant, man.
Nature.
Sounds good. So we'll check in next week.
All right. See you then.
All right. Talk to you later. Good luck.
Bye.
We're back. It's been officially a full week, actually a little bit more than a week. How you feeling, guys?
Caffeinated and ready to go.
Yeah, I was feeling great until last night. And then I couldn't sleep. But good week all in all.
All right. Did you guys follow my rules? Did you cheat? How much are you paying me as a consequence?
The extent of my cheating was turning on YouTube and seeing the title of videos and just like, okay. And just kind of like scrolling through to like just get to the next thing. So there's always so much you can do there. So I think Bruce Jenner or Caitlyn Jenner is running for governor of California or something. So I was like, okay, that's cool. We'll talk about that one later.
As Republican, full circle, I think it's hilarious. Anyways.
Yeah, we're in clown world, but anyways, that's a different story.
Wow, we've been back from the detox exactly 30 seconds, and here we are.
So to be fair, I also was told by, I think it was my wife actually, who told me about that headline. Really? And I was like, I'm not supposed to know stuff. And she's like, I forgot.
I wrote down headlines that you may have missed throughout your week of your blackout, and that wasn't one of the headlines I chose. Wow,
Emily, slacker. Anyways, we'll start with what we actually found hard or cheated. I know Jason talked about the radio too. He told me about the radio the other day, so he has that little.
What'd you do with the radio?
Score against him.
I the time before I was in my car when we did the intro to this podcast, I had it on CBC. So the next time I got into my car, like the radio was already on that channel. And I was just driving around and I was getting frustrated listening to the news. And I was like, wait, why am I mad? I was like, oh shit, the radio's on news. So that I clicked it off.
Why am I mad? Just
pretty much. Yeah. It was just classic CBC being CBC. But I forget what the topic was, but I just remember I was like, ugh. The commies. And then I was like, oh yeah, right, I'm not supposed to have this on. So I just clicked it onto like a classic rock channel or something.
I also have my radio on in the car somewhat often. I never put it to a news channel. I think the only channel I leave it on, well, I'm in Ottawa, but I'll play Move 100, and they play the weirdest mix of old and new music.
It's very eclectic.
Yeah, but I'm never in a bad mood.
Yeah, I gave up on watching CBC in the car. So I used to do a lot of driving for my old job.
But you don't watch it while you drive. That's dangerous.
Yeah. So I had the radio on a lot, but it's been several years that I just have given up totally on CBC. I just can't do it.
In Moncton, we have 2 classic rock channels, a country channel, and then one mix of everything and one top 40. So after a while, you get tired of hearing the same songs over and over. And sometimes it's nice just to have some talk. And sure, sometimes you'll get the news, like the weather and sports or whatever. So I often have it on there just because you can only hear a whole lot of love so many times. They're like, okay.
Whole lot of love. What I do now is just podcasts or Spotify with Bluetooth. So just got my phone. But no, back to what I found hard or slightly cheated on. I took a few notes down just so I would remember. The hardest thing for me was the rule of not having any form of like electronic or watching device in bed.
Yeah, no screen.
And that's often because my wife and I guess I could share this. My wife is pregnant, so you guys know. But
what?
Which means she gets tired a lot and very early. So often we like start watching something and then she's like, "Oh, can we just move this to bed?" So I will admit that I cheated a few times, but it was never something political or toxic. It was always like, I don't know, The Office.
You owe me $1 for every minute you cheated.
Oof. Okay. But yeah, that was the hardest part, and it was mainly because it was like, let's go to bed early, and I was like, are you sure? But I did end up not doing it most nights and reading a book, which helps you to fall asleep in a much healthier fashion.
Yeah, I read every single night, and sometimes I'll read for a full hour and I'll get through 50 pages or whatever. But sometimes I get through 1 page and I'm sleepy. Yeah. But yeah,
another thing, yeah, that's good. Another thing I'll say that was hard, not hard, but it just, when you actually put some thought into it, And it gets better day after day. But if you are somewhat addicted to your phone, and I would say that most people are, even if you have some levels of people who are like insanely addicted and other that are slightly addicted, I would say I'm more on the lesser side of addicted to my device. However, you kind of are, because the second you said no Instagram, delete your app, which I did on the last episode, all of that stuff, you still find yourself when you turn on your
constantly.
phone. It's just muscle memory. Your fingers do the work for you, right? And then you're like, oh yeah, it's not there. Or like, what am I doing? I don't even want to go there. Even when you do have access and you're not playing by these rules, oftentimes I'm like, no, why am I here? Right? I don't want to do this. So yeah, good experiment for everybody to try is just try to delete an app just for like a week, even for a day, and count yourself, catch yourself, and count how many times you've caught yourself thinking or like doing the movements to find that app.
Yeah, and actually, if you have an iPhone, I don't know about other cell phones, but iPhones, you can go on your screen time app, and it'll tell you how many times a day you pick up your phone and what the first app is that you go to when you pick up your phone. And I always find that interesting to see.
I believe also I get the like weekly update, so I'm sure when I get it soon, it'll be way down. But another thing it can do now, I think, is you can actually go into your settings, check certain apps, and give yourself a certain amount of time that it's accessible for the week. And after that, you're locked out. Yeah, which I think a lot of people should try. And then the other thing I recommend for things that are meant to be very attractive visually and, meant to kind of get those dopamines out, like Instagram, is set your phone to grayscale. That makes Instagram way less attractive. I did it like last year, and it does help a lot. You're kind of like, this spaghetti or these mountains don't look really...
Spaghetti?
I don't know. Well,
what accounts are you on?
The foodie stuff? Sorry, avocado toast, Emily. The avocado toast doesn't look nearly as delicious as it did in full color.
Jason, what was the hardest part for you?
I gotta say, all in all, it was pretty easy. The big thing was the thing that Will just covered, the muscle memory. I don't have Instagram other than our one for the independent mindset. And other than that, I just have Facebook. So I just logged out of that. And I caught myself maybe 3-4 times just doing the muscle memory going there. And I was like, oh yeah, right, I'm not logged in. And I'll just put the phone down and keep on doing something else. And it was kind of pleasant knowing that I wasn't going to go pollute my brain, which is nonsense.
Yeah, and it's crazy how just that extra little barrier of like being logged out, then at least it's the reminder, oh yeah, I don't need to go on here. Whereas if you're logged in, you don't even think about it. And then 30 minutes went by.
Yeah, and I mean,
30.
It could be at home, it could be at work, it could be, doing whatever. And you're just like, oh, right, not this. Let's go back to whatever else I was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just checking my Bitcoin even more. That's all.
Yeah, I still had Yahoo Finance open too because we said we could do that one. Didn't read any articles. The only thing I read was like there was one of my companies I want to know a little bit about the quarterly earnings. So I pulled up the one up for the quarterly earnings. Like, okay, that's related to investing, so that should get a pass.
I would allow it.
So I kind of want to talk about. So you just mentioned like reading articles. I want to get to the news. So honestly, aside from Caitlyn Jenner, how aware are you of world and local news for the past 7 days?
I think Alberta has a lot of COVID cases.
Okay.
But other than that, I'm pretty much in the dark.
All right.
Yeah, same here. I heard the Caitlyn Jenner story. Other than that, I've heard the Alberta story as well. Even for work, I stayed off news all week, so I think pretty good. Well, there's a few people that like mention things, and then I was like, you can't talk to me about news. I'm on a cleanse. Like, oh, sorry. Including my wife and dad.
and my boyfriend, who sent us in our group chat an article, and I was like, no, you can't. He'll get all worked up.
I didn't read it. I saw the headline, of course, but I didn't read the article.
The headline said it all. You didn't even need to read it.
It's all articles are these days.
Yeah.
It's clickbait.
All right. So I wrote down a few of the headlines throughout the past week. I kind of divided it in bad news, good news, and then no one really cares, but it still made headlines news.
Isn't that most news?
Yes. So would you like the bad or the good first?
Let's do bad.
All right. So bad news. In Mexico, one of the subways in Mexico City collapsed and killed 25 people.
And underground subway?
No, it seemed to be actually, you know what? I'm not sure from the picture. I couldn't see that well, but to me it seemed like the
monorail from Simpsons almost?
Like an above ground section of it.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But I might be lying to you. It's worth verifying.
That's rare that a derailment happens and then that it actually kills a lot of people.
It said collapsed. I don't know if it derailed. I think the structure collapsed.
Okay, maybe it was a sinkhole or something, or was it suspended like the Vancouver one?
I thought it was suspended.
Okay, maybe.
I'm really just picturing the monorail episode from Simpsons. I know it's a tragedy, but like I'm picturing that kind of structure just like hovering above the city.
Yeah. It was up on like the Vancouver
pillars.
Train.
Yeah, the skyline on whatever it's called.
So it collapsed, and yes, many people died. So that was sad news. Other bad news. COVID is still a thing. It did not disappear in your 7-day cleanse.
Damn it.
And actually the bad news was for India. They're having a really tough time. Last week.
Oh yeah, I did vaguely hear about India.
Yeah, so last week more than half the worldwide cases were in India. So they're getting hit real hard.
I mean, it makes sense, right? It's densely populated, second most populous country in the world.
Yeah.
You kind of expect to have a flare up there, get a big spike and then over. Are they having problems with like mortality, ICUs, prevention, that sort of thing?
You know what? I don't know the numbers exactly for like severe cases, but I would assume all in all, probably worse.
They are like 1.1 or 1.2 billion people.
And a lot of the less developed areas too, they'd be so close together and not necessarily have the systems to isolate or, be able to not see other people. So,
and that's kind of the thing with India. It's either very developed or very underdeveloped. There's not a whole lot of in between.
Yeah, I don't think it's like the largest middle class in the world.
So they've had 242,000 deaths, and today it says plus 4,000. Or updated 2 days ago.
Okay.
This is just like, the main page on Google, so I'd have to look into the actual specific numbers. But so those are my bad news headlines.
Okay.
I didn't want to get that many. I'm sure there were others. Then good news. Sorry, Jason, go ahead.
I was going to say most of the headlines are negative anyways, because that's what gets clicks.
I did find 2 good ones, though.
Did you have to try? Did you have to
No, they were front page.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So the first story is that a lady in Mali gave birth to 9 babies.
Wow.
That has not happened in decades. They all lived. And there's a word for that, and I don't even remember it. I know what this octuplets. That's 8.
Yeah, octuplets is 8.
It'd be like no nuplets or something like that.
Or nenatuplets.
How does that even work mechanically?
Nenuplets?
They must have been pretty teeny tiny.
Were they 2 pounds each?
No nuplets. Nenuplets.
Oh, yeah, nenuplets. Is that not what I said?
Sure. They weighed between 1 pound and 2.2 pounds. And
between what?
1.1 pounds and 2.2 pounds. So they were.
What's a regular baby, like 8 or something?
Between 6 and 9.
6 to 9, yeah. Huh.
Wow, look at us.
That was in sync. I'm not doing my research at all. I'm not expecting.
So that was nice news. I mean, hopefully she's prepared to care for 9 babies. I don't know.
That's insane. How many were the Dion? Was that 7?
Was an Octomom there a show for a while?
Well, yeah, Octomom had Octomom. 8, but she was in vitro, right?
Yes, which in vitro typically ups the odds for
because they'll implant more than one. But this one, I was reading the article, and unless they just didn't specify, they didn't mention that it was in vitro. So I don't know if by some miracle, this was a natural occurrence, But regardless, pretty incredible.
But do you guys remember, it's way before our time, but it was a big Quebec thing, like generations before us, and it was a mom. I think it was 7. They were called like the Dion siblings or the Dion family. I think it's Dion family.
I'm looking this up.
And they had like 7, I think it was 7, which at the time was insane, and to the point where it's so unheard of that they were almost treated like freaks, right? Like are you
talking about Céline Dion's family that had 14 children?
No,
That's
this was like this was one batch, like this mom. Maybe I'm messing up the name, but look up like a old
the Dion quintuplets.
Yes. Oh, quintuplets. There you go. So for the time, quintuplets were unheard of, to the point where they were like became displays.
They became ostracized a little bit. Like
it
like kind of like satanic died. Or something?
Sorry.
They are the first quintuplets known to have survived their infancy.
There you go.
All 5 survived to adulthood.
This was a long time ago.
This is in 1934.
There you go.
Wow. So there's 2 left that are alive still.
The more you know.
Oh, wow. So they died young, though. Interesting. Anyways, we won't get into that, but yeah. So that was a good headline. Another interesting headline that I think is good news, I don't know, is trillions of cicadas are about to emerge after years of sleeping.
Yeah, I heard that, a few weeks ago.
Good news?
It's every I think 21 cool. years, is it, that the cicadas come out?
I think it depends on the type of cicada. It's a long time, though. I think that's good news. They've been in their long sleep and now they're getting up.
It is cool. I've seen some like documentary bits about them, but don't they like wake up and just are ravenous? They just ravage crops everywhere.
Pretty much.
What? Cicadas?
Like
I thought they were... Yeah, are you thinking of locusts?
I'm pretty sure
I know locusts.
The same thing.
Oh man, is this bad news and I put in the good news? Because I was like, nature's so cool.
I don't think it's excellent news.
Oh, well.
I mean, like, the wonder of nature, sure, but might be a bad time to be a potato farmer.
Yeah.
Or whatever cicadas eat.
It's good news for David Attenborough, but maybe not a farmer.
It says, unlike locusts, cicadas, I can't say that word, don't destroy crops.
Oh, okay. Oh,
what do they eat then? We're making Emily learn so much today.
I'm Googling so much. Both for 17 years underground and then 4 to 6 weeks above ground for mating. Imagine you just like hide out for 17 years and you're like, let's get it on.
The orgies that must occur.
They eat the sap of trees, which is why they're always on the trees.
Oh,
this is a stark contrast to the unrelated locust, which chows down on plant material.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Interesting.
Good to know.
So they eat sap. Yeah, like the saying, you only live once is pretty true for these cicadas.
All right, I have one more positive headline, which is about New Brunswick, actually. I tried to find one for more local news for Jason. Is that the homesteading lifestyle is making a comeback in New Brunswick.
Yeah, I can.
People are into it.
I can believe that. We're like when we did our real estate episode with Mikhail, a lot of people are moving to New Brunswick because of the work from home boom, and since you have an undervalued market compared to, say, the Torontos, the Ottawas, the Vancouvers of the world. A lot of people are getting into that and have it accessible to them. And you can easily live within 45 minutes of a city center and still have acreage and do your thing.
Yeah, exactly. Which brings us to our last category of no one really cares, but it was on the front page. First of all, every local COVID breaking news numbers update all the time.
Yeah, that's just noise at this point.
Yeah, so that was all the time. And Bill Gates
I did hear
is getting a divorce.
Yeah. Yes.
With Melinda?
I think my wife was pretty bad for me this week. Wow. I think she also shared this.
I was excited to share that one. I was expecting shock.
I forgot that one, but I saw it on a YouTube headline there at some point. They did like a whole joint statement, wait for their kids to turn 18, and there you go.
Someone told me that, and I was like, okay. And then I thought, imagine being that famous that you need to figure out and plan out who you're going to tell about your divorce so that they're not offended about finding out about your divorce in the news. But also will keep your secret long enough so that it doesn't leak in the news. And also just think about having to announce to the world that you're getting a divorce. Like, how is that any of the world's concern? But here we are.
Second or third richest person in the world, I guess you got different problems, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, so no more Mackenzie and Bezos, and no more Bill and Melinda. Money
destroys marriages.
Money doesn't buy happiness. Or maybe actually I would say some money does buy happiness, but maybe billions and trillions don't buy happiness.
Actually, the divorce rate generally goes down the richer the couple.
Yeah.
I'm guessing the more financially secure you are, the less stress you have, which probably helps a marriage, I would say.
The less stress, probably a little bit more vetting, a little bit more vested interest, and probably more to lose as well. So you probably go in a little more carefully.
It's also partly cultural, right? Like if you have a job and you make a certain amount of money and your wife does as well, odds are you guys didn't have a child when you were 17. It's just like all the other stats surrounding it are also much better for a better ingredients for a healthier, longer lasting relationship typically.
Makes sense. So I'm just going to ask, I wrote a couple questions down that I wanted to check in with you guys, aside from the news, which I feel like probably that was the biggest thing that was like lacking in your day. Because I know you guys don't over-consume social media all the time. Was there a specific day where you felt worse or better, or you started realizing like, oh, this is kind of nice, or this is easier?
I'd say right from as soon as I caught myself listening to the radio and I turned it off, I instantly felt better. And then not being exposed to that garbage for the rest of the week, I was like, this is quite pleasant. And in general, I found my temperament like a little bit more even keeled just because I didn't have that like steady influx of negativity. So it was quite pleasant, really.
Yeah, I would concur with Jason. The news, especially just the having to check in or feeling like you have to check in. I do have to sometimes for work, but having to check in, your morning ritual, check the National Post, the CBC, that kind of stuff. Just not doing that to me was kind of great. Other than that, there are aspects I am interested in politics in general, not necessarily like party politics or things like that, but I like philosophy. I like large concepts like politics and philosophy. So it is truly an interest of mine when I listen to like long form discussions or podcasts. So that part I miss a little bit, but then there's a lot of, I guess the byproduct is great to not have for sure.
Yeah. Ignorance truly is bliss. And I think William and me are on the same page for this. Like we'll listen to the mainstream media kind of to keep our finger on the pulse of what's getting pumped into normie land. Just so we know, like, okay, what are people getting exposed to? Like, what cancerous ideas am I fighting against? So I know that's partially why I listen to it. Sure, you'll get the odd story that's actually interesting, but it's most like, oh, okay, what's going to be in the zeitgeist right now that I should know?
Good word. Yeah. No, I completely agree with Jason. News. I always thought news should be there to, if you log into CBC or whatever, you look at an article for the facts. If there was a fire and a lot of people died, or the derailment in Mexico, you read it to get the facts, right? Like at this time, this happened, and this many people died. That's what you should get out of your news. However, when you're looking at headlines and you're reading some articles, it's kind of to me and Jason, it's kind of like, okay, this is what people will be talking about. And the next time you talk to someone and they basically repeat a headline or an opinion that's been shared, in the mainstream media,
what they're talking about. Yeah,
I know exactly where you got this.
Yeah, it's crazy though. I was realizing, so I try also not to consume too much news, or at least just not constantly go check. And so this week, a few days this week, I went to look for big headlines to tell you guys today. And yesterday I remember opening up, it was CBC News, and the top one was breaking news and had that red banner thing. And I was like, oh my God, what happened? And it was, here's your daily COVID count in Ottawa. Like, how is this breaking news? How is this worthy of the breaking news banner?
Hey, when are they going to come out with COVID-21? I'm still expecting that one to rear its head.
Yeah.
That's my next canceled segment. COVID-19 is going to be canceled in favor of COVID-21.
Replaced. Not good enough.
So that's what else felt good. Social media feel like the one thing I'll say about social media. I don't think Jason and I are very addicted to social media. I've been off Facebook for pretty much like totally for a year.
So just to give you a hard time on this one, just so we can be transparent. You keep saying you're off Facebook, but maybe like once a week, once every 2 weeks, you'll send us a screenshot in our group chat of like, look at this stupid person or this stupid headline, and you got it from Facebook.
Yeah, that's as of recently, but sometimes it's screenshots I get elsewhere. You know, like when a lot of people share tweets that aren't on Twitter, it's the same kind of deal.
But it's crazy how just, you know, at least if you eliminate one place that shares these things, then it's already fewer moments in your day where you're reacting to.
Let's just say in the last year, I have decreased my Facebook visitation and time by at least 95%.
I mean,
I think that's fair.
I deleted my Facebook account about a year and a half ago. And no regrets at all.
And then the Instagram, we kind of all manage the independent mindset pay, Instagram page. And that one's fine. That one's a lot healthier, I find, than even just your personal one, which again, I don't really visit much anymore.
One challenge I'd like to do eventually, it'd be a little bit harder and take a little bit more forethought, but it would be no cell phone at all for a week. That would make a big mental health difference.
I would love to have a day a week.
Your life.
Yeah, and it's kind of annoying that it's to that point, right? Where you almost have to pre-plan it out. Be like, okay, hey, my contacts, like, you know, I'll log on my computer maybe in the evening and pick up a few messages here and there, but you might only get me once a day. Yeah, send me an email.
That's when I wish we had a landline still, because there's a few times I've told my boyfriend that I wish we could do one day a week or something, or an afternoon a week where we literally just don't bring our phones anywhere. They're locked away. But it's also it's the only way to reach us because we don't have a landline. So it makes it harder.
Well, even if you do an afternoon, it's not the end of the world.
An afternoon
24 hours.
Jason, remember when we used to call each other on the landline all the time as kids?
I know, right? I remember
it's so foreign.
When you have to call a friend and panic if their dad answered, you're like, can I talk to this person?
You're like, hello, it's Jason. Is Will there? Sorry. Is Jason there?
So, quick question for you guys. I still have like your parents' home phone number locked away in my brain. Is it still the same phone number?
They don't have that landline anymore because they had construction done on their driveway a couple years ago and they accidentally cut the line. And then they're like, I guess we'll not have a phone anymore.
Okay. Because
what is it?
Go ahead. Can I say it? Or
someone else's number now.
684-3455.
Yep.
Yeah, nice.
I still remember a few of my close friends, from childhood, their home numbers because we dialed them so much. I remember I'd call my friend Amy and her dad always answered and he'd just give me the hardest time before he handed the phone. He'd be like, what'd you have for dinner? We had hot dogs. What do you put on your hot dogs? And then I was like, I just want to talk to Amy.
It's like our dad when he was feeling funny and someone else would answer. Someone he didn't really know. He'd just be like, Duffy's Tavern, Duffy speaking.
Oh, that's the classic. Everyone's dad
You're like,
did that.
Funny.
That's such a dad joke. I remember it's too, like when we were like really young, like maybe 8 or 9, I would always call at your place for William to go play outside at 5:30. Like right at 5:30, I would call each and every evening. Is William there? Yeah. Can we go play outside?
Or just show up. Because we were neighbors. Yeah.
Man, those were the days. Apart. Simpler times.
Yeah, simpler times, guys. The 90s. So what's next?
Well, I was going to ask, because you guys have said stuff that felt good. So would you recommend this kind of cleanse for someone? And what are things that maybe you would just implement on the regular now, or suggest that people implement? Will mentioned deleting some social media, but are there any other specific things? Because we haven't really addressed. Actually, sorry, I'm jumping around, but
I'll be honest. I didn't get a plant, so if that's where you're going next,
I was going to just.
I forgot to buy a plant.
Did you do exercise every day and go outside every day?
Yes. That I think for Jason and I is already a big part of our lifestyle. And I know you jumped ahead there, but you were going to recommend, for people, that to me is number one. Make sure you breathe some fresh air, and that you also exercise every day, or almost.
Yeah, it's crazy how much better you feel. I put a poll on our Instagram this week asking people, how much better do you feel after working out? And the average answer was like very, very high on the bar. The only if Brian's listening to this, Brian Kehoe.
Brian Kehoe?
Yeah.
Okay.
He put very low on the bar. It was like at 10% of the bar. And then later sent a message saying, fuck, I didn't mean to do that. I was
put the opposite.
Yeah.
For everybody listening, Brian Kehoe is the trainer we had on. So he's
I was
in
like,
pretty
wow,
good shape.
good trainer, hates exercise.
Good guy.
Yeah. He doesn't believe in his product. Wow.
He's good people. So yeah, if you don't mind, I'd like to share one story that has a lot to do with mental diet that was a first for me.
Go for
it. Bear hunting with the guys. And me and a couple of guys from work, they're avid hunters. I've gone partridge hunting. I've done a bunch of brook fishing, but I've never hunted big game. And it's a skill set that I want to acquire that I think will be more and more important down the road. If you go look at our last cancel segment, I said beef is going to get canceled. Well, you got to get your meat somehow, right?
Do people eat bear?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's why you hunt it.
I mean, I hope so. Yeah, not just for fun,
shits.
But...
So bear hunting is super simple. You just stand in a tree with a long spear and you just dive right on them. You kind of hope for the best. But no. So what you do is you go in the woods and you have one of these great big, like 55-liter drums, and you'll fill it with bait. And the barrel's maybe like 5 feet in the air. So like an adult bear can get his face in it and start chewing away at the bait. Often you'll use things like expired donuts, maybe some dog food or corn feed or something like that. Usually it has to do something sweet and fatty like pastries, or something savory like bacon, and you'll burn some of the fat to try to get the odors up in the air. So me and the boys from work, they each have a bear stand. We went and we baited their barrels. We MacGyvered myself a little stand in the trees. We kind of scavenged some lumber from an old decrepit stand that was obviously no longer in use. So we did that Friday, but it was just 3 guys. We went in the woods. We brought our firearms with us. We all had our licenses for our respective things. And it was just a nice sunny evening where we were just walking through the bush, no one around, just nature, birds chirping, rabbits running around, that sort of thing. And it was just fun. It was just nice and pleasant. And just to get outside, no one around in nature.
It's COVID-less.
Yeah, that is nice.
On Saturday, we're all set up to go. We start to head out, but it was piss raining. So we ended up turning around. So we didn't properly hunt, but we set up. We got everything there.
Oh, okay, I was going to ask you.
Yeah, we
did you see a bear?
We did not see a bear. And whenever the last time before I went with the guys, when you got your wheelbarrow full of your bait and like your tools to like you set your stuff up and whatever, Buddy was thinking, okay, when I get to my barrel, I'll pull out the rifle just in case there's one at the barrel, and I'll take the shot. But he encountered one on the way over. So there he was like rushing, trying to get his rifle, trying to get set up and everything, and then missed the shot because the bear kind of followed down his path. So there we learned from that mistake, and when we were going through, like we all had our heads up. The guys with the bear licenses had their rifles ready just in case, but we didn't see anything on Friday. And then Saturday, as we were on our way out, it was just too rainy. It would have been miserable.
Yeah.
Like just sitting in a stand, no cover on top of you.
Yeah.
You would have froze. It would have been miserable. So
yeah, it is. It's not that warm out yet either to be sitting in the rain.
Well, yesterday it was 4 degrees and windy and rainy, and it was a big rain too. So it would not have been a good time. But Friday was excellent. It was maybe 10, 12 degrees, evening, nice sun, just a calm little breeze coming through the leaves. And it was just nice. So maybe hunting's not.
What do you use
for caliber?
For bears. What the
guys?
What's the firearm?
The guys had a 300 Winchester and a 306.
Okay.
So a big enough, it's still a small caliber round, but it's for big game. Like it still has some power, still has a good amount of distance to it. And for me, who I have my varmint license, I have a 22 Magnum. So it's not something you'd want to bear hunt with, but it's something that's appropriate for varmint.
Yeah. It reminds me, you said he saw a bear on the way, but then didn't get it. One of the first times I went hunting with my dad, we just went partridge hunting. It was a pretty unfruitful trip. I think we maybe saw one partridge. That was it. Didn't get it. And that was the trip. Next morning, I'm walking up the driveway because we live, somewhat in the country. So it's a long driveway with, trees around it. I walk up the driveway to take the bus to school, and there's a partridge just chilling in the middle of the driveway. So I ran back down. I was like, Dad, there's a partridge. And of course, we're like too close to other houses. So
nothing you can do there.
Can't really shoot it. But I was like, that's just like Mother Nature or God.
Rubbing it in,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure to discharge a firearm, you have to be 400 meters away from the nearest building.
Yeah, that it wouldn't cut it there.
Yeah, no, you're a little close.
Although 22s are pretty quiet.
They are. But anyway, so yeah, I was happy to get out. It was just pleasant to be with the guys out in the woods, just laughing, joking, making a stand out of like obviously unsafe materials, but it was just fun to do. And it was a good time. So I'm looking forward to getting out and properly bear hunting there with the boys.
Cool.
So as far as mental health goes and mental diet goes, it's a new skill. I learned how to bait bear. I learned, what to look for to see if the bear was around or not. And eventually, learn how to hunt it, gut it, quarter it, all that good stuff.
Nice. I think people also forget just how good it feels to be in nature. Like go touch a tree, touch some grass, like take your shoes off. It feels nice. There's something
like a cactus.
good about it.
This sounds sad because we're from the more of the country rural part of the world, but now that Emily and I are in Ottawa, pretty much in the city, a lot of my nature is taking walks with my dog, and then also just working in my backyard on my flowers and my plants.
Yeah, even that.
So
feels
it's
nice,
a new house. Yeah, and it's actually nice in the spring when you're like every day I'm checking like new buds, new plants coming in, new flowers coming out, that kind of stuff.
For me, we have a tree right outside our house here, and it's starting to have, the buds are like starting to look like leaves, and every day we see the growth. We're like, did you see the tree today? It's the little
and
things.
It's even more exciting in this day.
Yes, exactly.
So
all the lockdowns.
Hopefully there once we get ourselves some parcels of land there, we can go a little bit deeper and we'll go set up some barrels.
Yeah. Yeah. Although bear, I don't know. I'd probably have a hard time shooting a bear. Bears are like probably one of my favorite animals. I just think they're so cool. They can.
Hey, I know where this is going. You had T-Bear and I had Mama Mini growing up. I honestly, to this day, I don't think I could pull the trigger on a rabbit unless I really had to.
For anyone super confused right now, they're talking about the stuffed animals they've had since birth. Will had a little brown bear, and Jason had a rabbit or bunny, whatever.
Yeah.
What were their names? Say them again.
My two bunnies growing up, which I still have, they're my parents' place. They're Mama Mini and T Mini, and adorable
Mama
little
Mini.
Thing. Yeah. Anyways, point being that I don't think I could pull the trigger on a rabbit unless I was like really friggin' hungry. And it's kind of the same idea for Will, where he's like, I don't think I'd want to shoot a bear. I bet you that's where that comes from.
Yeah, Cibrun is, Emily made sure to pull that out at my wedding. But yeah, that's my little brown bear that I was given basically at birth.
My stuffy from birth was also a rabbit.
Yeah, it was.
Stuffy,
a little
first
dressed
time I
bunny.
hear that.
Very, very creatively named Lapin.
Yeah, we had the French names.
Yeah. All right, so so Jason didn't buy a plant, but did either of you improve any living space at all?
I improved. So I'm trying to work on some videos here, part of the independent mindset brand. And so I have worked a bit in the last 2 weeks on kind of this room where I can start shooting and maybe have a bit more of a nice looking backdrop.
I see some bamboo behind you, so that's nice.
Yeah, I also have some bamboo. That one's not new, but I did buy a pack of basil, thyme, tomato plant, and one more. I forget. I think it was rosemary.
Costco. Bought the same one.
Yes, actually. So I'm going to plant a bit of those outside when it's slightly warmer out.
Yeah.
So got to take care of those. I always end up killing my basil. I don't know why.
I've grown my own basil from seeds this year,
trees.
and they're doing okay. They're not nearly as full as the one I got from Costco, but I'm hoping to have a few plants going.
Nice.
Did either of you phone a friend or a relative that you had not seen in a long time?
I completely forgot that one.
Wow, I guess you just hate your
100% escaped my mind.
I kind of forgot that too. However, right before you gave us the rules last week, I did end up calling my grandmother, which I don't speak to her very often. So I had a good, probably half-hour chat with her. And then this week, I actually got called by my cousin's husband, who we chat once in a while. Sometimes he'll call me, I call him. So we had a good, probably like half-hour or hour chat. Talked about they just bought a house, that kind of stuff. Nice. So chatted with him for a while.
Excellent.
Yeah. What else? Went to a few drives. Went to visit a friend at a brewery. We knew she was working there, so stopped by, said hi, that kind of stuff. It's sad to say, but it's kind of these little things that make you feel a bit more human in this past messed up year.
Well, yeah, to have actual interactions.
Hey, I know this person that works there. Why don't we stop and say hi?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I miss that. Just like I go for a lot of bike rides, and I miss just being like, hey, you know who lives here in this area? We could stop by and say hi.
Yeah. It's kind of sad, but anyways.
Yeah, it was a good experience. I definitely enjoyed it. And other than, being a little bit forgetful for the plant and the phone a friend, it was quite nice.
Those were bonus, to be fair.
Yeah.
They were bonus challenges. Yes, that is true.
But just not having social media at my fingertips and not clicking on the political videos, and kind of like William said earlier, like I enjoy them just to enjoy. I enjoy ideas and concepts and that sort of thing. But it was kind of nice not having that not conflicting ideology, but that always conflict. Okay, we're grinding. We're trying to acquire greater understanding. It was just nice to kind of dumb out for lack of better terms.
Yeah, just turn it off.
Yeah, just ignorance is bliss for a little bit. That was kind of pleasant.
And I guess
can't do it all the time.
What I was realizing too when I was finding headlines for you is that you missed a week's worth of news and it changes literally nothing. Like nothing significant for you happened,
Yeah. Well, I mean, just look at, I think I was telling my wife this. I was like, look at the last year, right? The last year has been absolutely dominated, mainly by COVID, a little bit by Trump and that kind of stuff. But let's say it was absolutely the year of COVID for the news. And if you would have as long as COVID made an appearance and, developed last year and is now a pandemic, you kind of know most of what you need to know, because the amount of flip-flopping and back and forth and insane nothing burgers and consistent breaking news. Here's today's number. You're like, what? Okay. The amount of that has happened over all mainstream platforms throughout over a year now is just insane. And no, you haven't missed anything, except you would be extremely confused, or you'd be way less confused, if you missed all of it. Yeah,
it basically comes down to once it started, it just didn't stop. And, okay, I'm not allowed to do this today. Oh, I'm not allowed to do that today. Good to know that, my freedoms are eroding.
Yeah. Oh, no masks. Wearing a mask is stupid. Okay. Oh, wearing a mask is necessary.
Wear two
Okay.
of them.
Wearing 2 masks is common sense now. Oh, okay. Yeah. Getting vaccinated and then having to wear 2 masks is common sense.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Having a curfew makes sense because, the viruses sleep, but
it's less aggressive.
Yeah, they're only out at night,
or more aggressive at night. So
yeah, they're
like
nocturnal.
Yeah. Emily, are you done with your questions? I have one for you.
Yeah, I think so. I think we've covered
before we leave.
Covered my share.
Cool. Did you try to do some of our stuff too? Like, work out and.
I went on a couple runs this week. I'm trying to
good.
improve my running because I think running sucks and I hate it. So I've been doing, like 5Ks with intervals of walking and running, and it's going okay. Hopefully, I get to shorten those walk intervals, soon.
Fight the pain.
Yeah,
that's the way to do it. Though, always like anyone who's new to running. Don't try to do any hero runs. Do exactly that. Like, I'm going to run to this telephone pole, and then I'll walk the next 2 telephone poles, and then I'll run the next 10. Like, just start really easy like that and just build it out from there.
Yeah. And as for like hobbies or just things that feel nice, I've been getting a lot more into just plants. So I'm now up to 10 plants in my home. I've been learning how to separate them.
I just love how you said that. I've been really getting into plants.
The things that are green and have the leaves.
Yeah, I mean, I think having greenery in your house really improves just the feeling of it.
It does. So I like it.
I've learned how to like trim plants and then grow a new plant from the trimming and stuff. So I've done that a few times. And
so you grow weed, is what you're telling everybody.
What's that phone number again?
It's not weed. You can't smoke these plants, but they still make me happy.
Nice.
Okay.
And I've been also growing veggies that we're going to put in our garden, our raised garden bed, hopefully in a week or two. So that's kind of been keeping me busy and makes me happy to see. Just seeing something grow is kind of really special. It makes you feel humble.
Yeah, it is nice. Yeah.
But I probably consume more news and more social media than this week because I was covering for you guys. Because I did the social media accounts on my own this week. So I was kind of, checking it a few times a day and responding to some people and trying to make a post every other day or so.
That was my last question. Because I do find, like I said, I've basically replaced my Instagram personal account with our Independent Mindset one. I do find that, I don't know, the setting and the context of that Instagram profile is a lot healthier than
just because you're not personally involved with the people on our feed, you're less likely to,
Yeah.
keep
I don't know,
scrolling or be invested.
Exactly. So my last question for you is just going to be, how did the week of social media go? How was social media?
Oh, it went well. I introduced myself on Sunday and explained that I was going to be taking over for the week. I got a few nice replies saying, "Yes, you go." And I was like, wow, maybe I should just be the main person.
You are very good at social
girl.
media, though. I got to give you that. You are very knowledgeable and you know how to do it very well.
But yeah, otherwise it was, checking in every now and again, sharing some stories, making sure we're staying relevant. But it went well. Yeah, no problems.
Cool.
Hopefully you didn't lose all your followers over the 7 days I was in charge.
I'm sure
I've changed all your passwords. You're locked out now.
It's the mental diet forever.
Yeah. So thank you very much for doing that, Emily. It's very much appreciated.
Yeah, I had fun.
And like I said, you're very knowledgeable and you're very good at engaging with the audience. Something that I know is one of my weaknesses, but you done did it.
Well, thank you. And here, let's engage our audience. If you're listening and you'd like to do the mental diet cleanse, I posted the rules as a story, but I can go ahead and I did share the rules on our page. So you're welcome to check out Facebook or Instagram and try it out. Let us know how your cleanse goes after you're done, obviously. But yeah, you can reach us by email or through social media, and we'd love to hear how you feel after a week of it.
Right on. And do you want to close it out? Where can people find this episode? You
can find us wherever podcasts are streamed Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Simplecast, and probably a bunch of other platforms that I don't know about. Also YouTube and Facebook and Instagram.
Funny enough, too, Spotify has beaten, at least in terms of our downloads and viewership, is now #1 streamer for us, no longer Apple Podcasts.
Oh, nice. That is where I listen every week.
Yeah.
Spotify's my go-to.
Yeah, I guess they both have their limits, right? You need an iPhone if you want to listen through Apple Podcasts, but you need you have to be monthly subscribed to Spotify.
I thought Spotify users, it was free as long as you're willing to listen to some ads.
I think it is. Yeah.
I don't know if it's limited now. They've definitely limited that down. So you can't like go and just choose things. You kind of have to, if you look up an artist, it's random and you'll have some ads.
Oh, interesting.
You can't like choose. Yeah, you can't choose which song anymore. So I'm not even sure podcasts are available.
Well, you can always find us for free on YouTube, ad free. Well, actually, no. YouTube plays a 7-second ad or whatever, probably.
This is true.
But yes,
and we're not even getting a cut.
Yeah, we're not monetized
from our massive amount of views.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Will, I enjoyed it. I hope you did too. Emily, it's very much appreciated the time and effort you put into this year one. And
yeah, it was a good experiment.
So thank you, everyone, for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Next episode, we had the pleasure of interviewing Ferry Boers from. He's the owner and master brewer of Bicycle Craft Brewery here in Ottawa. So that'll be coming out next week.
Awesome.
Stay tuned.
Looking forward to it.
Cheers.